The grand jury convened in Georgia to look at possible crimes committed by Donald Trump or aides in overturning the election has now finished its probe. The grand jury's report goes to the DA today. It's expected to include a findings summary, may include recommendations about indictments. Willis, who is the DA there, has also won cases at the Supreme Court that has basically vindicated her argument that this is a real case which needs real high-level cooperation. She forced testimony from people like Giuliani, Flynn, and Senator Graham. Mark Meadows has been ordered to testify, although we don't have public confirmation if he ultimately did. But here's the big news. We know the DA has already named 18 people as targets of the probe. That is an on-ramp or path to potential indictment, including every single person involved in the elector fraud. That includes the head of the Georgia Republican Party and the current person elected the number 2 position in the state, lieutenant governor. There will be a hearing to determine how much of this report ultimately goes public. Any decision on seeking indictments is up to Willis and a traditional grand jury. Now, here's what she's previously said about this whole process.
People also seem to think that in society that there are certain people that are immune from prosecution. If you are a celebrity, if you are a high-ranking public official. Lady Justice here is blind. If he committed a crime in my jurisdiction, then it includes him.
We're joined by former federal prosecutor Joyce Vance. What does it mean to have this sort of special grand jury finish its work? And what, if anything, can we glean about those targets?
So it means that it's time. It's time for Fani Willis to reach her decision about whether she will prosecute, who she will prosecute, and what she will charge. She will have the grand jury's recommendations, but more importantly, she has this phone call between the former president and Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. It's January 2nd, just a few days before the Electoral College vote is due to be certified. And it's remarkable. I reviewed the transcript again, Ari, to see if my memory was correct. And it is just a remarkable conversation where Raffensperger patiently shoots down point by point every single one of Trump's allegations of fraud. And all that Trump can do at the end is bully, cajole, and threaten him to find the votes he needs.
Let's take a listen to that.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have. The people of the country are angry, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, you know, that you've recalculated.
Joyce?
So that's a crime. That's a crime being committed. In Georgia, it's a crime to interfere with the accurate count of the vote. It's illegal to solicit someone to do it for you. It's illegal to do it yourself. It's illegal to conspire to do it. And the one defense, the one thing that gave some folks pause when this call was first made public was whether or not Trump knew what he was doing was wrong. Did he really believe that he had won the election? And now, what are we, 2 years later? It's abundantly clear that he, in fact, did know. We've heard the evidence that the January 6th committee has released, and a lot of that testimony is compelling. In the call with Raffensperger, Trump says not only is the Georgia vote wrong, there are other states. You'll see, he tells them, there will be a lot of other states that will come forward. But he knew at that time because his own former chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, had already told him, for instance, that the vote count in Arizona was correct, that he had lost Arizona. And so while Trump is making these claims, he knows that they are false. And that's the crime of election interference.
Yeah, you lay it out. In different states, different jurisdictions, the notion of a target or that warning ranges. But without getting too far in the weeds on that, how unusual would it be for a prosecutor to list this many targets, and it's become public, and not indict any of them? As of this point, she has not.
Sure. So, look, prosecutors have to be willing to follow the evidence wherever it leads them. And sometimes the evidence pans out. Other times you hit a roadblock. But Willis was very specific when she issued target letters, and that's something unusual for her office. She was clearly being meticulous about protecting the rights of potential defendants. Will she indict all of them? Only time will tell. But it's clear that she has accumulated some compelling evidence towards at least some of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost gone in the other direction, and this might be a careful strategy on her part, as you say, an abundance of caution and respect for the rights of those individuals, or it might ultimately be something else. I don't think we have enough visibility to know as sort of legal analysts and reporters on the outside, but it would seem odd if after all this and this report and this number, if she did 0 for 18, for example, that would seem to be ending with a whimper. I think the questions around whether it's Atlanta DA indicts the former president, those are high-level constitutional law school type things. But if she goes 0 for 18 on all the elector fraud, would that strike you as odd?
You know, it's hard to say, Ari, because as you point out, we don't know what all of the evidence is. I think Donald Trump is the central target here for very good reasons, the tape that you played. But you're correct to point out that there's also the potential for these fake elector slates, for that to be a form of fraud, and other conduct. And Willis has included a number of state officials, including the chair of Georgia's Republican Party and people who were involved in that side, in her sort of broadcasting of potential targets. And it's clear she may have set her sights more broadly than just the call.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're going to be monitoring it closely. Joyce Vance, thank you as always for your analysis.